Welcome to conference on this beautiful Wednesday. We've had a lot of rain here in California, so we're all of a sudden excited about having sunshine. And really this conference is about the way we see things. It's about like appreciating the sunshine or having a great attitude about the rain. It's about how we view things and how our mind then makes choices around how to see our world, basically. So we come back to the quote by Viktor Frankl, which has been our study for the last few weeks, talking about why Ashtanga and that we are energy practitioners and energy experts to see your world and your thoughts and your reactions and everything through this idea of energy, things that are heavy, things that are light, and to begin to like be more aware, acutely aware of that and make different choices based on that. So Viktor Frankl's quote, of course, was, between stimulus and response, which we would say life happening and us responding either in our mind or in our words or actions, there's a space. So we talk about Ashtanga giving us that space in between. And he says, in that space lies your freedom. And I added to that the word from last week, which is Jivan Mukti, our freedom and power of choice in your response. And in your response is your growth and your happiness. So we've been talking about just the littlest things in life, like how we make choices on how we're going to be about them. So our quote for this week is a beautiful, simple quote by Nelson Mandela. He said, "May your choices reflect your hopes and not your fears." And so I kind of felt like this took it even to a deeper level of saying, as life is constantly happening, are you choosing thoughts that are very fearful and worrisome or maybe even critical? Or are you choosing thoughts that lead you more to hope and possibility? And so for me, I think it's nice to, this again is very spiritual and philosophical, and it's one thing to say this, but I think it's a whole nother thing to live it. And to live it, to me, is really about the moments of my life and the moments of your life. And I gave a really simple example on Sunday of meeting some yoga students, a family, at a pizza place, just randomly, spontaneously I saw them. And we were talking about this or that, and the conversation went to the husband said, man, the pizza here is really expensive. This is, every time we come here, it costs this much and it's expensive. And I just want you to see, like, that, just that one statement has an energy to it. It has a vibe to it. You know, this place is expensive, you know, but immediately we changed the conversation. I think we all together changed the conversation to be, but yeah, the pizza's really good. They have the most fresh salads. And this is in our community, and we feel like we're supporting community every time we come here. And we just took this one thought that could have just been like a little heavy or negative or, you know, like go down that like critical path, but instead turned it around and just became this light, like, we love this place. This place is so worth like every penny we spend on our yummy pizza and whatnot. And I use that as an example because it's so small, but it happens a million times throughout the day. That you have this ability to be sort of critical about something or to worry about something or to project something with our great neocortex like out into the future that's not even real. Sometimes we're just like, oh, you know, do you ever catch yourself like brushing your teeth in the morning and thinking thoughts about the day that haven't even happened that sometimes are worrisome or just kind of not hope but maybe more the fear? And that's kind of where it's at, I think, is when we start to really see everything as energy. And it's very spontaneous, and it's very, as Grid used to love the word in English, automatic. Automatically, he would say. And so what I find is the more I train myself through the meditation, through my yoga practice, my meditation, creating space in my yoga practice, I find that in the littlest situations like that, like I just don't, why would I go to negative? I would just so much rather talk about supporting community and things of the sort. So, you know, last week we talked about the whole losing the phone and being tethered to like feeling guilty or small, and how when we start to realize that more, like, hey, that's always a choice, like I don't have to feel that way. We start to see it in other situations too, that it's just like natural things that happen in our life. that we just start to see it more, or not even see it and just respond to it differently. I recently had something really heavy going on. It's actually still going on in my life right now. Something very heavy is going on in my life. And someone I love is not well. And so there's that choice every day to either be in the moment with what's actually happening now, or that choice that I have, which is to be in the future and worry about what could happen, or what are we going to do if. But to really pull myself and live these teachings every day of my life. The other thing that happened recently is someone that I really care about was really upset about something. And I realized how when we have feelings of like anger and frustration and all these kind of things, that we're so much in reaction, reaction here and then reaction here. And I was just really sitting back with how I dealt with that situation, and I dealt with it with such compassion and with such love. And it was very automatic, as Guruji would say. I wasn't like trying. I mean, I was trying to be my best self, as we all try to be our best self. But I realized what I needed in order to do that in that situation was already there for me. It was already there, and I felt so much better. We talked about last week feeling liberated. What makes us feel liberated is non-attachment, and when we're able to go to those places. And afterwards, even today, thinking back on it, how the whole feeling like wound up shifting, because of being able to hold that space and really choose better thoughts here and better ways of being here. So I just really want to put that out to our community and our community here about this yoga, this meditation is really as life-changing in the smallest ways. So I have this teaching I taught a couple years ago that is, some of my students told me it's their favorite teaching. I bring it back every now and then, but I really felt like it was appropriate for this week because I feel like I always do these little things with my mind in the way in my little intentions, kind of cognitive behavioral little things I do, which are game shifters for me as how I show up in life, what we just talked about. And the story comes from a couple years back. We were studying the gratitude practice, which Annette's here, she'll remember. It's like really when the whole community got into making a 30-day dedication to it. We were reading Sean Aker's book, The Happiness Advantage, and really talking about neuroplasticity and how we can change our neural pathways with this idea of practicing gratitude. And I was so living it. Like I'd already had this practice, but when you teach something, you're like full on living it. And I remember one day I don't think these are that popular anymore. I shouldn't say that on here, but I had these jeans at the time that were Lucky Brand. Does anyone have Lucky Brand jeans? I had Lucky Brand jeans. And I was taking, my clothes off at night or whatever, and as I unzipped my blue jeans, there was this little red tag inside that said, "Lucky you." And I remember being like, oh, I've unzipped these jeans a million times, but I didn't realize that they had a message for me. And I was thinking like everything in life, there's so many messages like pennies strewn throughout the world that would tell us like, you're lucky, you're lucky, you're lucky. And really having that thought at the time, like, sometimes people say you're lucky, like, oh, you won the lottery or so something good happened. But really all of us understand this. Lucky is how you feel. Lucky is your perception. Lucky is like, I'm a lucky person because. Any stupid little thing makes me feel like, I'm so lucky. So this blue jean thing really cracked me up. And so I shared it with the students, that I'm like, hey, just your blue jeans, anything could like remind you to have this, that I'm lucky because I say I'm lucky, because I believe I'm lucky, because I know I'm lucky. So then I came up with this fun thing for the students to do and for you to do, which is we're going to pass these around today. This is your starter kit. So your starter kit is one stickum that says, just because I ran out of stickums, one stickum that says, lucky you. And your homework goes like this. You take your stickums, you're going to make a stack of them, the biggest stack you can make of your lucky yous. And the first lucky yous go on places where you will see them. So on your computer, in the drawer you open for pencils every day, on your refrigerator, in your like briefcase that you carry on the car where you shift, so that throughout the day you're just smiling, going, lucky you. And automatically things will come up in your head, like, it's a beautiful day, I live here, you know, or I get to go home and have dinner with the person I love, or, you know, you're just going to start like smiling at these stickums that say, remind you here that you're lucky, that you're lucky, that you're lucky. And then the second part of the homework, which is my favorite, is then you're going to take another large stack and you're going to hide these from yourself. So you're going to hide them in really good places where you know you won't find them, at least not for a while, like in a book that you don't read all the time, or in the back of that drawer, or you know, in a pocket that you won't see. Hopefully you won't wash that pocket, but in the pocket of jeans or in a coat pocket or something. And then when you least expect it, a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, you're going to find this little note to yourself that says, lucky you, and you're going to smile. And it's just going to remind you how lucky you are. And I've had students that have done this, and they said still today, years later, they find their little stickums to themselves, and they absolutely love the reminder. So there's more homework. So this is your bonus homework, should you choose to accept. The second part of the homework is for you to acknowledge someone or someones in your life that you feel so grateful to love. Your partner, your children, your sister, your best friend. And for you to write stickums that say, lucky me. And you're going to first put them places and tell them, of course, and maybe in a sweet card, or just to say, like, I'm so grateful that you're in my life, that I'm just going to do this fun thing where I'm just going to like tell you with these fun little stickums that I feel lucky that you're the person in my life. Or with your kids and stuff. So first you put them on their computer, you put them in their briefcase, you put them, you know, on their plane ticket, you put it on their whatever, and so when they see it, they'll be like, ah, there she is, there he is, saying that they're lucky because you're in my life. And then of course, the second part of the bonus homework is to hide it from them. And so they know that like a month from now, a year from now, and they're like getting out a pair of shoes they never wear because it's their dress shoes, in the back of the shoe, and they put their foot in, right there's a sticker that says lucky me. And I just can't tell you like how beautiful and happy that just smallest little simple goofy silly thing is, to be on the receiving end of it as well. One of my students' daughters going off to college. She's in college, but she's been home for a couple days, and she said, oh, I'm going to give her this stack and tell her to hide them in her house from me so she finds them when she's at school from me. It's just a really beautiful gesture. So I already have them all around the Shala. We've got some ones over here, and even for our cocoa wall on my picture of Richard, I have lucky me, because you really realize even in things that we would normally maybe be, of course, heartbroken about or sad, like to remember what we're lucky for loving and lucky for having each other and continuing to love. So there is your homework. Should you choose to accept, I think it's a really fun one, and talking about like how we retrain our mind and how we have little ways that we raise the vibration for ourselves and start to see our world differently. I promise you this one works. Namaste.